Hey guys, so we're talking about something real quick. Obviously, I'm going to be uploading actual videos soon. I've had a couple that are pre-filmed. I'm still not sure where and when is the best place and time for me to film, like in the long term. But for now, I just want to say that I want to talk about what's going on with the Damon Albarn stuff and Taylor Swift, but not so much specifically about that. I want to talk about like a broader issue that I have noticed. So if you've been following me for a long time, I was a pretty big Blur and Gorillaz fan back around 2019. At this time I was 16. I was a lot younger, so I did kind of devote a lot of time to fandoms and stuff. I was like kind of a fangirl, so I could be like easily blindsided by stuff. I wasn't as aware of like stuff that's going on. And before I get into this, I will probably be doing a Blur discography dive at some point. And I just want everyone to know that by saying all of this, I'm not saying that you cannot continue to listen to or like Blur or Gorillaz music. There's tons of bands which really artists have done bad things, and I am not trying to say stop listening to them. That's not what I'm saying here. I just want to get that out of the way before anyone gets mad at me. So, in the meantime, so most of you probably know, if you follow the music community at all, that Damon Albarn is under fire at the moment for saying that Taylor Swift did not write her own songs, and Taylor Swift responded to this in defense, and Damon supposedly apologized. But the issue with this apology was that he basically said that he basically was saying, I was trying to have a conversation about songwriting, and the people in the press like you turned it into clickbait. It's like, it's literally not clickbait. Like, he literally said those words out of his own mouth. Like it's like, like when people like misconstrue information a lot, like when the tabloids say things, and that sucks. Like, recently there was the thing with Noel Gallagher saying, that the Tory, or he was saying that the Labour Party had betrayed the working class. Never once in any of that did he imply that he had switched sides or that he was a Tory. It's perfectly reasonable to not like either party. I mean, I'm in the US and I vote the way I do because I want to keep certain people out of office, but that doesn't mean I'm like particularly thrilled with the other side myself. So I get it. So I mostly agreed with what he was saying, but then like I saw people taking that out of context and saying he was a Tory, and that's not, he never said that. So that's like people putting words into someone's mouth or taking something out of context. Damon Albarn literally said that Taylor Swift doesn't write her own songs. There is no way to like misconstrue that or to take that. It's a literal quote, unless somehow the thing, like, they lied, but like there's no way. Like, I only saw the interview in written form. I assume it was like a spoken interview, so I'm sure there's like audio of it as well. But I'm not willing to believe that they completely made it up. And I feel like he did apologize, but he was kind of shoving the blame onto the media. What I thought was really odd about this whole thing was that Taylor Swift doesn't usually use her own social media. Damon Albarn never does. Taylor Swift was like, yes, I wrote this tweet myself, and then Damon wrote this like a response tweet, saying, oh, I'm sorry about that, but like also they were like, put me in this position or whatever, like blaming the press. And the way that tweet was written, it did not seem like it was like a PR team. Like, it seems like it was actually him, which is crazy because he doesn't use his own social media, or hasn't in the past. Which, again, at the end of the day, I don't really care if somebody uses their own social media or not. That's not my point. Noel Gallagher doesn't either. I get it. That's not really the issue here. And the only reason I'm bringing up Noel Gallagher is because it's a relevant example of, how people will take, how like tabloid, like somebody will say something and then like you've got the press or just like people on the internet will like misconstrue that and be like, oh, well, he's a Tory now. Like, obviously Noel Gallagher has nothing to do with this. I was just using that as an example for that situation, because a lot of people are trying to bring the Gallaghers into this because Damon used to feud with them, and it's like, this isn't really the point. Like, so they really don't have anything to do with it. I don't know why people are trying to do that. It's kind of annoying, but I digress. And this isn't like, people were like saying that Damon's getting canceled for this, and then people were like, why the fuck are we canceling him for something like that's not a big deal? And it's just like, I don't necessarily think, if he is getting air quotes canceled, that is kind of stupid. Like, that is a bit of an overreaction. And of course there's people who are taking it to extremes, telling him to hurt himself and all this shit. It's like, don't do that. even if you hate somebody, there's no reason, like, don't do that, please. It's just like, and people really are taking this to extremes, and it's something that really bothers me. And I'm not really sure why people feel the need to do this, and it sucks. And it's just like, but the thing is, so I used to be in the Blur fandom, right? And I feel like there's this situation where, I have this issue with the Blur fandom, where I feel like the fandom is really good at covering things up. We're making things look like they didn't happen, or they happened, you know, whatever. And this is a way that historically, like, I think this is finally starting to break down, because now I'm seeing lots of Blur fans, or not lots of Blur fans, but now I'm seeing lots of, like, people finally starting to break that down and be like, oh shit, well, this isn't, well, like, and even I'm seeing fans of theirs starting to realize some of the, like, stuff that's been happening. So there was a situation recently where their guitarist, Graham Cox, and he basically got exposed, or somebody was trying to, like, make this, like, campaign against him, but they basically brought up some allegations of him grooming minors and some, like, really not great stuff. And it was something that I had never heard about, and I thought that Graham was genuinely a decent guy from everything I could tell. But having been in the fandom for a long time, it's something that I had literally never heard about. But the thing is that there were old forum posts from, like, a long time ago of people discussing this. So this is a thing that's been happening for a long time. Now, obviously, all of this is alleged. I can't say, you know, for sure that it actually happened, but it is alleged, you know, for legal reasons. But I guess I'm saying that it's just really interesting, because it's something that has, like, you know, but, like, this one person, like, just recently, like, exposed all this stuff and put it all together, put all the, like, allegations together. And, you know, there's a lot of allegations. I'm not saying, like, it's unlikely that everything is true, like, you know, every allegation is true, because people do make things up a lot. But, you know, to say that all of them are not true is also unlikely. And I feel like, because there's a history of, like, people on forums and stuff talking about, like, weird, creepy behavior with fans, and that's, like, a history of that. He has a history of it. And I have some, like, actual friends who have talked to people who've interacted with him in awkward ways, or talked to somebody I talked to his ex, and, you know, there's some stuff that, you know, does not make him look particularly good. Like, did he actually do anything that was, like, legal or, like, an offense? I don't know. But he just seems like a very creepy and uncomfortable guy. And I was, like, I always thought he was, like, a sweetheart. Like, I never got that impression, because he's just, like, this unassuming kind of person. I never got that impression. So, I think that's crazy. That, like, all these years, like, I was in the fandom for, like, a while, and I never heard any of that. And I know a lot of it's coming to light recently, and a lot of people are also shocked. I'm seeing a lot of other fans who were shocked when this stuff was coming to light recently. And, honestly, it's something that, you know, but apparently those things, there's been forums and stuff about it for a long time. So apparently, you know, there are actually, like, there's a history of, like, this stuff. And it's actually crazy to me, because I knew people didn't like Alex James, you know, because he was conservative and he's a rich guy on a cheese farm and, like, the whole thing. I get all that. But I did not know about, again, this is alleged. I can't prove it. I wasn't there, but this woman did accuse him of sexual assault, and that's something that, you know, is a very serious thing. And, you know, I'd be pretty willing to believe that it happened, because of the, like, party, like, frat bro kind of era of British music that was going on. And honestly, it's really gross, and you feel like a lot of those guys were just, like, not being, and there were girls who did it too. There were girls who, like, partied and, like, did all sorts of shit, and I get it, but it's just, like, and there's nothing wrong with partying, but I mean, people who are, like, taking it out of control. And, you know, Alex, he does seem kind of like an F-boy, his whole vibe. And I always got, like, a weird vibe off of him, and, like, knowing he was a Tory and all that, I was like, I didn't support that. But, you know, I was never, like, it was never enough to make me be like, oh, you can't hang out with these people. And I'm kind of in this position where I'm seeing, like, Damon. The issue here is that there's a lot of buzz, like, the account's been posting and stuff. There's a lot of buzz for, like, a Blur reunion. And if this happens, Damon has a lot of explaining to do. Being the lead singer, being the most famous member, you know, being the person who has, like, the public eye and the clout on him, because the thing is that he is an activist. Like, he supports, issues for, like, stopping climate change and, like, I mean, it's things like he puts up, like, minorities and women, like, on his songs, like, and, like, he's, like, supposedly a very, like, socially woke person, but at the end of the day, he's actually, not that at all. And, I feel like there's this, like, veneer that he's been putting up as this, like, woke person, and he's actually an egotistical asshole. And listen, I don't mind, and I'm sorry to, like, bring the Gallaghers into this again, but, people say, like, oh, well, the Gallaghers are assholes, but I say, at least they're unapologetic about it, like, they know they're assholes, whereas Damon was, like, acting like he was this nice, like, guy. And I know he would, like, but, like, I would always get the, like, when he would say petty things, I was like, oh, he didn't mean it, or oh, he was going through a hard time, or whatever, like, and people would just always cover things up. And the fact that I did not know about the sexual assault thing about Alex until last year, I found out through TikTok of all places, it's actually kind of crazy to me. Because, I knew him, like, for 2 years at that point. I knew who he was, and the fact that I never heard about that, and I think I'm noticing that the Blur fandom, historically has this thing of, like, covering up severe, like, just things that people have done. Like, there was this thing about Damon Albarn and Adele, and it was like, oh, everyone just forgot about that, and it was like, it's, like, not a severe thing. And in no way am I trying to compare Damon Albarn saying something stupid to, those other crimes that the other guys have allegedly done, but he does have a lot of explaining to do if the band gets back together, because this stuff has been, circulating a lot, and I know he doesn't use social media except for this time, but somebody on his team has to tell him, like, hey, what's going on with the allegations and stuff. And it makes Graham look really bad because he's still not addressed the allegations, to my knowledge. He apparently was deleting replies, which were, like, talking about it, which again makes him just look really, like, why hide it if you have nothing to hide, is what I'm saying. It does not make him look good. And, and the Alex thing, I mean, hopefully that's public knowledge. I hope Damon knows about that. I mean, if he genuinely doesn't know, then, like, that's, I don't know what to say, but, like, in the situation, like, somebody on his PR team, like, has to tell him, like, hey, these are the things that are circulating about your bandmates, maybe don't do this, because if they do get the band back together, it's saying all that, like, activism, all that shit looks extremely performative, because then he's basically just saying, oh, yeah, I'm fine propping up these two people who are extremely creepy and or actual sex offenders, like, I'm fine supporting these guys in their career, and it is so uncomfortable, and I don't understand, like, this has been covered up. I feel like that the Blur fandom was actually really good about covering up, just different things that the members did over the years, and it's something that, like, I understand a lot of fandoms will, like, will, like, of course, not admit that bad things happen, but, they're not always necessarily good at covering up, like, the things that other people say. Like, other people will expose someone, and all the fans will be like, yeah, no, like, I still defend that person, even though that person's, like, totally in the wrong. And I am seeing that with some of Damon's fans who are saying, well, he apologized. Well, he apologized by putting the blame onto someone else, so, like, no. But regardless of your opinion on that, I mean, I at the end of the day, do I care that much? I mean, he said something stupid, she defended herself, that's the end of it. Like, I do not genuinely care that much about the Taylor Swift thing. It's just a matter of, this is the first time I have really seen the opinion within, like, the music critic community, like, my community, really turn against Damon Albarn. And I've never really seen that before. And I've kind of been waiting for this to happen, because knowing that he has not made a statement about, and I know it's not his job to, like, make statements for his friends, but if there's a reunion, he has to acknowledge, hey, I'm working with these people who have extremely sketchy pasts, and it just isn't a good thing. And, it's just, like, extremely not good. So, honestly, I've just been, like, shocked and appalled to learn all of this, like, just through the past several times. And, it was always, like, in the past, like, when Damon would say something about someone, like, back in the day, it would be, like, a dick slinging contest, whereas this is, like, I'm bringing down a successful woman for no reason. And it's just, like, I find that really disgusting. Like, I don't understand, and I do believe in change. I do believe people can change. That's another thing. There's the thing about, there's some other things that have been said in the past. So, like, if he said douchey things in the 90s, like, I wouldn't care, because I would have believed he had changed. But, this is something that he literally just said. And, you know, it's not my job, and I understand with, like, I'm not saying people can't change, and with, like, maybe Alex, you know, isn't in a position where he would do something like that again, but it's still, like, that's not for us to decide. That's for her. That's for the victim. If she wants to forgive him, that's up to her. And that's the kind of thing where it's, like, you can't, like, it doesn't matter how many years it's been. That's the kind of thing that you can't ignore, really. And at the end of the day, the fact that the fandom has covered this stuff up for so long is genuinely shocking to me, and I really think that we need to start taking that veneer off of Blur and realizing that the band is, like, actually very fucked up. And this is, like, something that's been a, like, massive cover-up in the fandom. So anyway, and I really hope that some of the fans will start to, like, take accountability. Like, I mean, obviously they're not the ones who have to take accountability, they're just fans, but I mean, like, at least, like, acknowledge that, hey, this is not okay. And I mean, I have a good friend who's a fan, and, you know, was straight up said, you know, what Damon said was not okay, and, you know, I agree, and I'm like, you know, that's great, but, like, I know a lot of people are just, like, blatantly defending him, whatever. And it's like, people who defend, like, I fully understand defending your faves if, like, someone is, like, saying something false about them, or someone's saying something that's, like, just, like, hating on them for no reason, or bringing something, like, even if someone has a legitimate reason to be critical of that person, they're bringing up, like, something irrelevant, like their looks, and, like, hating on them for their looks or something. Like, there was this thing a couple years back, I remember, where Demi Lovato got into a feud with Taylor Swift because they defended Scooter Braun, and, you know, that's not cool. And, like, I would understand people going in there and saying, oh, I don't like that you defended Scooter Braun, that's not cool. But instead of that, you know, people saying that, people were like, hey, Demi, you're fat. It's like, what's the point of, like, there is no point in bringing their appearance into it. Like, it doesn't, like, it's not relevant, and it just really sucks. But anyway, I hope that we can all learn from this, and everyone will be more wary about the bands they listen to. And, you know, please don't cover up things that bands you like have done. Please don't do that. It's not cool. And it's just not cool. And I think we all need to you know, not cover things up, and that's the end of it. Anyway, guys, I'll see you all soon with a, you know, actual video, but I just wanted to talk about that. I'll see you all. Bye bye.